As Donald Trump is getting ready for a state banquet with the King, paid for by us, the British taxpayer, protesters up and down the country have taken to the streets to show their displeasure for the leader of the United States.
This is the Trump Not Welcome protest organised by Stand Up to Racism and Stop the War Coalition, backed by We Demand Change. What we're out today to do is basically to show that Trump and everything that he represents is just not welcome in the UK.
He's racist, he's misogynist, women's rights in the United States is being eroded as we speak.
I don't think it's really racist. He is a bit racist, not too much, but I don't really care about him. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect me.
I'm incredibly concerned about the way that the Donald Trump government and American capitalism in particular is destroying the environment.
They're saying it's the biggest parade they've ever put together for Donald Trump. I'm sure the King actually is horrified to have to spend the day with Trump, because whatever we think about the King, he does care about the environment.
I think it's disgraceful of Keir Starmer and the whole of the government and the monarchy that they are welcoming a fascist, a paedophile, a racist, a criminal.
I don't think a lot of people realise how misled they are by Trump, Musk, JD Vance and Nigel Farage. They are in it for themselves and they are misleading the public. The far right are dangerous. We have not seen so many people who are joining their ranks, but that's because they're being manipulated, if you like. And some of the chants are they want war, and we chanting we want welfare.
There's no positive outcome of Trump spending any amount of time in the UK. In his time in office, Trump has institutionalized state racism and made that more explicit than it's ever been. Trump has wholeheartedly and with his full chest supported the genocide in Gaza. Trump has been a part of destroying the planet and continues to do so. And just overall, he's been a massive engine for the far right, both globally, but more specifically in the UK.
All the far right, all the people who are pro-Trump are a minority, and in reality, there's so much support for minorities like trans people, disabled people, refugees, every minority, they are supported, and we need to show that they are supported.
Well, I think it's really shocking that Starmer invited Trump for a second state visit. And Trump has to know, the world has to know, that the people of Britain don't want him. So there's demos in London. There was a wonderful action led by donkeys at Windsor Castle. And we need to be here in Manchester and cities around the country saying we don't want Trump here, we don't want Trump's politics, and we don't want our government cozying up to him.
Well, I think the whole idea of having state banquets is ridiculous anyway. What a waste of money when, you know, as you say, there are people starving or people with disabilities who can't get support or people who can't afford rent and so on and so forth. But I think the bigger question is why is the British government think it's appropriate to invite this man? The vast majority of the British population dislike him. The vast majority of the British population understand that he's a climate denier, that he's a bigot, that he's a racist, that he's a homophobe, a transphobe and the rest of it. Why do they think it's acceptable to bring him here? What is it that Starmer wants from him?
I sort of get what Starmer's trying to do, but I feel really angry that man just everybody has to kowtow to him. He's a criminal. That's why I'm here. I couldn't be in London, so I came here. He is a criminal.
It's not just this banquet that's the issue. It's also the relentless drive to war. It's the state budget being spent on all kinds of things that doesn't benefit the people. At a time when so many different crises are going on, the state, of course, is throwing a huge amount of money, an unprecedented, in fact, amount of money at this state visit. What are they going to be discussing? Are they going to be discussing how to stop the rise of fascism? Are they going to be discussing, how to stop the genocide in Gaza? Are they going to be discussing how to stop the constantly ballooning cost of living crisis? No, they're here to discuss trade, right? So they're here to discuss how to make the 1% of the 1% that 10% richer, which I think is absolutely obscene. If there was an outcome out of this where, suddenly the wealthy start paying loads of tax and they can start carrying the weight of their own banquets, fine. But I suspect that's not going to be the case.
There is quite a high police presence at this protest as a number of the far right turned up at the start of the evening to antagonise.
They are hooligans, they are rent-a-crowd. They're very, very noisy, but there aren't as many of them as there are of us, decent human beings.
Yes, a lot of the far right came very early. They're all filming and videoing, chanting aggressively trying to provoke confrontation. It's very depressing, really, to see that whatever we demonstrate for at the moment, these people turn up to film us, to try and provoke confrontation.
I think it was really great how many anti-racist marches come out. I think that's the most important thing, that we show that there is support for all the minorities that they are targeting.
You are at a crossroads. We all are. We can choose Nazism. We can go back to 1936 Germany, or we can choose a path that brings us all together, that we are kind and compassionate, and that we support the vulnerable and the elderly and our children and the NHS workers, without whom none of us would be around.
We are black, white, Muslim, black, white, Muslim, black, white, Muslim, and we're Jew, and we're gay, and we're trans. We will not allow a bunch of racist bigots, mostly which are white men, to push us off our streets, because these are our streets.